Alright guys, before we start with today's lesson, so let's do a very quick recap on some important concept that we learned in the last lesson. Alright, so in the last lesson we learned that there are so many carbon compounds out there. Okay, we have many carbon compounds out there. So in order to make it easier to study, okay, to make it easier to study for all the carbon compound, okay, so we have to do a process of grouping. Yeah, we will try to put the carbon compound into a few group. Okay, we don't call them as group. Okay, we don't call it as group. We call it as homologous series. We call it as homologous series. So homologous series is actually the group of carbon compound. Yeah, so we put a few carbon compound in one group. The group we call it as homologous series. So there are total 6 homologous series that we learned previously. So let's do a very quick recap. So the first homologous series is called alkane. The second homologous series is called alkene. Yeah. The third homologous series is called alkyne, K-Y-N-E, alkyne. The fourth homologous series is called alcohol. And then the fifth homologous series is called carboxylic acid. Okay, carboxylic acid. And the last homologous series, we call it as ester. Okay, so there are total 6 homologous series that you need to know. Okay, all right. So in today's lesson, we will focus on alkane. So in today's lesson, we will discuss in detail. Okay, we will start to learn in detail about alkane. Yeah, so hopefully at the end of this lesson, you will have a much better idea what is alkane. Okay, what is actually alkane. All right, so without further ado, let us kickstart with alkane. So we will start with alkane. So the first thing you have to know is the functional group. Okay, so I mentioned in the last lesson before, the functional group is the sex organ. So when you see the functional group, then you know that substance it is alkane. Yeah, so alkane, the functional group is carbon-carbon single bond. So when you see the carbon and carbon bonded by single bond, that is alkane. So you can write it out. So if they ask you what is the functional group of alkane, you can just draw CC and draw a line, or you can write in the words. Okay, you can write in the words. Okay, carbon carbon single bond. Okay, carbon carbon single bond. Okay, you must mention the single bond is between carbon. Many students, when the question asks, what is the functional group of alkane? Many students, they only write single bond. That is wrong. You cannot only write single bond because there are many types of single bond. The single bond can be, for example, nitrogen can be single bond with hydrogen. Carbon can single bond with hydrogen. Carbon can single bond with carbon. Yeah, hydrogen can single bond with chlorine, for example. So if you only use the word single bond, so we don't know whether the single bond is between nitrogen and hydrogen, carbon and hydrogen, carbon and carbon, hydrogen and chlorine, or others. Okay, so if the question asks you what is the functional group, what is the functional group for alkane? Okay, what is the sex organ for alkane? You must mention single bond between carbon. Okay, you must mention carbon-carbon single bond. Okay, If you don't want to mention carbon-carbon single bond, you also can write this. You also can write single bond, okay, between carbon atoms, okay? Single bond between carbon atoms also can, you see? This is carbon, this is carbon. This single bond indicate it is alkane, yeah? So this is not hard, but many students will make mistakes here, okay? So please remember, so what is the functional group? What is the sex organ of alkane? Carbon-carbon single bond. So whenever you see a substance that it has carbon-carbon single bond, then you know that the substance belongs to alkane. Yeah, that is what you need to know. Alright, the next thing you have to know is this. This is something new. This is called general formula. Okay, this is general formula. Okay, so what is general formula? So general formula is a special formula or special equation that we use to predict the formula for alkanes. This is the general formula. Okay, so we will use this general formula in order to predict. Okay, we use this to predict the formula for all the alkanes. Okay, so if you want to find out the formula for alkanes, you don't need to memorize. You don't need to memorize. You can predict it. So how you predict it? You can use the formula CnH2n plus 2. Okay, CnH2n plus 2. This formula must memorize. This formula must memorize. This will not be given. Okay, this formula will not be given in exam. Must memorize. Okay, and the n is the number that you can substitute. You can substitute the n with the number 1, starting with the n with 1, start with 2, 3, and so on. Okay, you can substitute n with any number starting with number 1. You cannot substitute n equal to 0, cannot. You cannot substitute n equal to negative number like -4, cannot. So the n must be a positive number. Yeah, the n must be positive number starting with 1. Okay, starting with 1. Okay, now for example, okay, how to use the general formula. Okay, how to use the general formula. Okay, so you can do something like this. Okay, let's say I want to know, okay, the formula of alkane. Okay, today, if I want to know the formula of alkane with total, let's say, 3 carbon. Okay, today, I want to know what is the formula of alkane with total 3 carbon. So what you can do here, so CnH2n plus 2, you just substitute n equal to 3. Okay, you just substitute n equal to 3. So you put n equal to 3 in here and here. So then you do your mathematics. So when you do your mathematics, your final formula will be C3H8. That's it. Okay, so C3H8 is the formula of alkane with 3 carbon. That's it. So for example, if I want to know the formula of alkane with 4 carbon, okay, today, if I want to know what is the formula of alkane, and the alkane has 4 carbon, you substitute n equal to 4 into the formula here. So when you substitute n equal to 4, you get C4H10. That's it. So C4H10 is the formula of alkane with total 4 carbon. So we don't need to memorize. So you don't need to memorize, okay? The alkane, let's say the formula C3H8, C4H10, C5H12. You will see a long table, okay, in the textbook or reference book. You don't need to memorize all the formula. Okay, you don't need to memorize. All the formula you can predict it. Okay, you can predict the formula, okay, by using this. Okay, so general formula is used to predict. Yeah, we can use the general formula to predict the formula for all the alkanes. Okay, so just substitute n. Just substitute the n with the number of carbon that you want. Then you will get the formula of the alkanes already. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. So the next thing you have to know is that alkane has a nickname. Alkane has a nickname. Alkane also known as this. Okay, saturated hydrocarbon. Okay, saturated hydrocarbon. Okay, so when you see the word saturated hydrocarbon, actually they are talking about alkane. Okay, why we can call alkane as saturated hydrocarbon? Okay, so now we try to look at it. We actually learned this in lesson number 1. This is a concept we learned in lesson number 1. So let's do a very quick summary. Okay, so what do we mean by hydrocarbon? So hydrocarbon means hydrogen and carbon. So hydrocarbon is referred to the compound. Hydrocarbon is referred to those compound that is made of carbon and hydrogen only. So if the substance only made of carbon and hydrogen, that substance it is hydrocarbon. Yeah, so you see alkane you only has carbon, and alkane only have hydrogen, nothing else. Alkane is made of carbon and hydrogen only. That's why alkane it is hydrocarbon. Yeah, alkane is made of carbon and hydrogen only. Alkane is hydrocarbon. So the word saturated, okay, we learned this in the first lesson as well. Saturated, the S here, S stand for single. The S here stand for single. So single bond only. Okay, single bond. Okay, single bond. All right. So you don't have double bond, you don't have triple bond. So alkane only has single bond. Correct. Because if you look at the functional group of alkane having carbon-carbon single bond. Alkane only got single bond. Yeah. So when you only have single bond, it is saturated. Okay. When you have double bond, when you have triple bond, then you call it as unsaturated. Okay. So remember this. We learned this in the last lesson. Yeah. So if you only have single bond, it's called saturated. If you have double bond, if you have triple bond, then it's called unsaturated. Okay, that's it. So alkane only got single bond. That's why we call it as saturated. Alkane is made of carbon and hydrogen. So alkane is called hydrocarbon. So whenever you see the word saturated hydrocarbon, okay, whenever you see the word saturated hydrocarbon, make sure you know that they are referred to alkane. Yeah, they are referred to alkane. Sometimes in exam, they purposely don't tell you the substance is alkane. Sometimes in exam, they purposely don't tell you the substance is alkane. Yeah, so they will just use the word saturated hydrocarbon. Okay, they'll just use the word saturated hydrocarbon. Okay, so for example, okay, I can show you a sample question. So this is a sample question. Okay, so that you aware of how the question can be tested. Okay, so the question can ask, which of the following, okay, which of the following is saturated hydrocarbon? Okay, which of the following is saturated hydrocarbon? Okay, this is how the question can be actually tested. Okay, so let's say answer A, it's alcohol. Answer B, it's alkene. Answer C, it's alkane. And answer D, we have ester, for example. Okay, so whenever you see the word saturated hydrocarbon, they are referred to alkane. Yeah, make sure you know this. Think about saturated hydrocarbon, think about alkane. I repeat, think about saturated hydrocarbon, think about alkane. Yeah, so this is something very important. Okay, so let me write a side notes here. Okay, let me write a tips here. Okay, so when you see the word saturated hydrocarbon, okay, when you see the word saturated hydrocarbon, is actually refer to alkane. Yeah, so saturated hydrocarbon, okay, is exactly same as alkane. Yeah, saturated hydrocarbon is referred to alkane. Yeah. Yep, so this is a very important tips that you need to know. Okay, all right. So now we already covered this. Okay, so now what else? Okay, so the next thing that we need to know is this. Okay, so for alkane, you only need to focus on the first 8 alkane. Yeah, for SPM, focus on the first 8 alkane. So in SPM, okay, we just need to know. Okay, in SPM, we just need to know the first 8 alkane. Okay, so how to get the first 8 alkanes here? Okay, so you will use the formula CnH2n plus 2. You can substitute the n with the number 1 all the way to number 8. Huh? So this is the n. We can substitute 1, 2, 3, okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, and then this is the molecular formula for the alkane. Yeah? This is the molecular formula for our alkane. Yeah, so if you substitute n equal to 1, okay, CnH2n plus 2, if you substitute n equal to 1, you will get CH4. If you substitute n equal to 2, you will get C2H6. If you substitute 3, you get C3H8, C4H10, okay, C5H12, C6H14, C7H16, and C8H18. That's it, yeah? So all the formula here, no need to memorize. Huh? So you don't memorize all the formula, but you predict all of them, okay? So please, so all the formula here, okay? All the formula here, like what I say, don't memorize, okay? So let me write it down, okay? So all these formula, please don't memorize. Predict yourself, okay? So don't memorize, okay? We can just use the general formula to predict, okay? So we can predict using the general formula. Okay? So now you already see the formula for the alkanes here, okay? These are the first 8 alkanes that you need to know. All right. So now when you come to this chapter, okay, okay, you need to know 3 important skills, okay? There are 3 important skills that you must know. Yeah, there are 3 very, very important skills that you must able to master. Yeah, you must able to master 3 important skills here, okay? So 3 important skills, okay? So these 3 important skills you not only learn in alkane, you will learn in alkene, alcohol, and so on. So make sure you fully understand these 3 skills, because you will use these 3 skills over and over again. I repeat, there are total 3 important skills that you need to know in this whole chapter. Okay, so these 3 skills you will use not only for alkane, you use for other homologous series as well. Alkene, alcohol, carboxylic acid, you will still using these 3 skills again. Yeah, so these 3 skills is very, very important. Make sure you master it. Okay, all right. So when you come to this alkane subtopics, we will spend a very, very long time to learn about it. Okay, we will spend a very long time to learn about it, because when you fully understand the whole concept, so when we learn it again in alkene, so the time will be shorter. When you learn it again in alcohol, the time will be shorter. But now in today's lesson, we will spend a very long time to learn, because this is the first time you learn about it. Yeah, this is the first time you learn about the 3 skills. So definitely you need a longer time on it. Yeah, you need a longer time on it. Okay, so the first skill, it's called drawing. Yeah, you need to know how to draw. Okay, how to draw the alkane. Number 2, you need to know the naming, yeah, the naming of alkane, how to give the name for alkane. And number 3, you need to know a concept called isomer, yeah, you need to know the concept called isomer of alkane, yeah. So there are total 3 important skills that we will learn, okay. So let's start with the first one, okay. Let's start with the first one, draw alkane, okay. So how are we going to draw the alkane, okay. So to learn the drawing of alkane, you need to first understand this concept, okay. How are we going to draw the alkanes, okay. So in SPM, there are total 3 types of chemical formula, okay. There are 3 types of chemical formula, okay. So when you look at chemistry, okay, there are total 3 types of chemical formula that you need to know. The first chemical formula is called empirical formula, yeah. The first formula is called empirical formula that you learn in your Form 4 chapter 3, okay. The second formula is called molecular formula. So molecular formula you also learn in your Form 4 chapter 3, okay. And today we will learn a new formula. The new formula that we will learn today is called structural formula, yeah. You will learn something new today, which is what we call as structural formula, okay. Structure. So what is empirical formula, what is molecular formula, and what is structural formula, okay. So let us do a very quick revision. So let's do a very quick revision first, okay. So empirical formula and molecular formula, you learn this in your Form 4, yeah. So empirical and molecular formula both are in the written form, okay, both in written form. It is in a form of writing, yeah. So it's in a written form. So empirical formula is a formula that show you the simplest ratio. So empirical formula always give you the simplest ratio. So simplest ratio means the number cannot be simplified anymore. Yeah, the number cannot be simplified anymore. That is called empirical formula. Example, let's say C2H5. So the number 2 and 5 cannot be simplified anymore. So number 2 and 5 cannot be simplified anymore. So this is the simplest ratio already. So this formula is empirical formula. So molecular formula, okay, on the other hand, molecular formula will show you the exact number. Okay, it will show you the exact number of atom. Okay, you can use the word exact or you can use the word actual. The exact or the actual number of atoms. So you will know exactly how many atoms you have without simplified. Okay, molecular formula, they don't simplify it. They tell you exactly how many atoms you have. Okay, example, let's say C4H10. C4H10. So as you can see, number 4 and 10 is not in simplest form. Okay, number 4 and 10 is not in simplest ratio. So when the number is not in the simplest ratio, it is molecular formula. Okay, so this is what we learn in Form 4. Okay, so now when we come to Form 5, we will learn a whole new formula. Okay, this is a new formula that we will learn in the Form 5. So which is our structural formula. So structural formula, it's a picture. Okay, structural formula is a drawing. Okay, this is a drawing. Okay, this is a drawing to show the structure of your carbon compound. Okay, this is a drawing for your carbon compounds. That is called structural formula. Okay, that is structural formula. So when you see structural formula, so it's all about a drawing. Structure formula is a drawing. So I'll give you the drawing first. Okay, I'll show you the drawing. Okay, then in a short while I teach you how to draw it. Okay, so let's say, okay, So 4 carbon, okay, can be 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. 10 hydrogen can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we can see, all right, structural formula, we can see the structure. Okay, structural formula, we were able to see the structure. So what is the structure? Structure is the drawing. Yeah? The structure is actually the drawing. So when you see the drawing, so the drawing, we call it as structural formula. Okay, so I repeat one more time. So there are total 3 chemical formula. One is empirical formula, one is molecular formula, and one is structural formula. Empirical formula we learn in Form 4. It is all about simplest ratio. Molecular formula we also learn in Form 4. It is the actual number of atom we have. Okay? It is the actual number of atom we have. Okay? So how to know the formula is molecular formula? The formula is not simplified. Yeah, the number is not simplified. So the last one is structural formula. Structural formula will show us the structure. Structural formula will show us the structure, which is actually a drawing. Yeah, so structural formula is a drawing. So when you come to SPM, when you see the word structural formula, it's all about drawing. Yeah. Okay, so now I will show you the strategy on how to draw alkane. So this is the step-by-step, or we call the strategy. Okay, this is the strategy for us to draw alkane. Yeah, so if you want to draw alkane, so this is the strategy that you can use. Okay, so to draw alkane, first of all, okay, to draw alkane, the first thing you always need to start with drawing carbon. Okay, draw all the carbon atom first. Okay, start with drawing all the carbon atoms. Okay, and all the carbon atoms you must draw in a straight line. Okay, so draw all the carbon atom, okay, in a straight line. Okay, so in a straight line. Okay, so the straight line normally we draw in a horizontal line. Okay, we draw in a straight and also the horizontal. Okay, straight and horizontal line. Okay, so after you draw all the carbon, okay, all right, for example, let me use an example for demonstration. I'll give you 2 examples so you can see exactly how I draw it. Okay, so let's say, so the example here, okay, I'll draw this. Okay, so let's say I want to draw the structural formula. Okay, I want to draw the structural formula for an alkane. Let's say the alkane is C3H8. Yeah, I want to draw the structural formula for C3H8. So how to do it? First of all, draw all the carbon atom in a straight and horizontal line. So how many carbon we need to draw? 3. Yeah, there are 3 carbon we need to draw. Okay, we need to draw 3 carbon. So draw 1, 2, and 3. So you can see the 3 carbon is in a straight line. So I don't want you to draw 1 carbon here, 1 carbon here, 1 carbon here, like L shape. Don't want. Yeah, I want a straight line, and the straight line I want it to be horizontal. Because some people will say, sir, if I draw carbon 1, 2, 3, also a straight line but this straight line is a vertical straight line. I don't want vertical. Okay, I want you to draw in a horizontal straight line. Okay, draw it in a horizontal way. Yeah, draw it in a horizontal way. Okay, so now after you draw all the carbon in a straight line, now you need to put in the sex organ of alkane already. Okay, now you need to put in the sex organ of alkane. So what is the sex organ of alkane? Carbon, carbon, single bond. Okay, alkane, the sex organ is carbon, carbon, single bond. So now you will connect all carbon atoms. Okay, you will connect all the carbon atoms, okay, by or with using single bond. Okay, use the single bond to connect all the carbon atom together. Okay, so like this. So carbon and carbon draw a single bond. Carbon and carbon draw a single bond. Okay, connect all the carbon by using a single bond. After that, you must go to ensure that, okay, ensure means make sure each carbon, okay, make sure each carbon atom has a magic number. Okay, this magic number is very important. 4. Okay, all carbon must have 4 bonds. Okay, all the carbon must have 4 bonds. Cannot be more, cannot be less. Carbon must have 4 bonds only. Okay, carbon must have 4 bonds. Why? You learn this in your Form 4 Chapter 5. You learn this in your Form 4 Chapter 5. Carbon is in group 14. Okay, carbon, if you check the periodic table, it is in group 14. So group 14 means carbon has 4 valence electron. So when carbon has 4 valence electron, you can share the 4 valence electron. Okay, you can share the 4 valence electron to form 4 single bonds. Okay, you can share your electron to form the single bonds. Okay, so this is the reason why carbon must have 4 bonds. Carbon must have 4 bonds. Okay, because carbon has 4 valence electron. The 4 valence electron allow the carbon to share the 4 electrons. So when you share 4 electrons, you form 4 single bonds. Okay, so let's see. So every carbon must be 4 bonds. So this carbon got 1 bond already. So you add 3 more. This carbon, you have 2 bonds already. So you add 2 more to make it 4. This carbon already got 1 bond. So you add 3 more to make it 4. So remember, the magic number is 4. Carbon must have 4 bonds. So after the carbon got 4 bonds, then only the last thing you need to do is this. Fill in the blanks. Okay. So now the last thing is you need to fill in the blanks with hydrogen. Okay. Just put in the hydrogen. Okay, just put in the hydrogen atoms in the space. Okay, for example, here you see, put in the hydrogen, put in the hydrogen, put in the hydrogen. Okay, just put in the hydrogen. Okay, and you can double check. Okay, in the end, let's double check. 1, 2, 3 carbon. That's what we want. Okay, hydrogen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what we want. Yeah. Right, so that is how you draw it. Okay, this is how you draw it. Okay, draw all the carbon, connect all the carbon by using single bond. Make sure every carbon has 4 bonds, and fill in the blanks with hydrogen. Okay, fill in the blanks with hydrogen. That's it. Okay, let's draw another one more example. So let's say now we go for another one. Okay, let's say now we try to draw another one together. Okay, what if I want to draw the structural formula? Okay, I want to draw the structural formula for a compound. Let's say the compound here is C5H12. Okay, C5H12. Okay, so you all can pause the video. Okay, if you want, you can pause the video and try to draw on your own first. Okay, you can try to draw on your own first, then you can cross check with the answer. Yeah, so always start with drawing carbon. So you have 5 carbon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5 carbon in a straight line and horizontal line. Straight and horizontal line. Next thing, so when you draw alkane, you must know the sex organ of alkane. The sex organ, the functional group of alkane is carbon, carbon single bond. So join all the carbon by single bond. Next thing, make sure every carbon must have 4 bonds. Make sure every carbon must have 4 bonds. So you top up, okay, you top up the bond to make sure every carbon got 4 bonds. Then in the end, put in hydrogen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we have total 12 hydrogen. Okay, so you don't need to worry, okay, about the hydrogen. Okay, so as long as the carbon got 4 bonds, and all the empty space you put in hydrogen, so then you can draw the alkane already. Yeah, as long as you make sure the carbon got 4 bonds and all the empty space, you put in hydrogen, then you will get the structural formula. Okay, you will get the structural formula for the alkanes already. Okay, so I hope now everyone learn how to draw alkane. Now I hope everyone know the basic way how to draw alkane is considered very simple. Yeah, it's actually quite simple. Okay, so now after we learn the drawing, so now we will go for the naming. Yeah, we will learn the naming. So we will spend a longer time on naming. Okay, we will spend quite a long time with the naming of alkanes. Okay, so I'll start with the basic naming first. Okay, I'll teach you the basic principle of naming first, then only I go in more detail. Yeah, I'll teach you the basic principle in naming. Yeah, all right. So this is a basic principle. Okay, this is a basic principle to name your carbon compound. So today, if you want to name carbon compound, not only alkane, yeah, all the other carbon compound also can, alkene, alcohol, or others. So if you want to name the carbon compounds, you need to first understand this. Okay, you need to understand that the name is actually split into two parts. Yeah, the name is actually split into two parts. Okay, the name is actually split into two parts. Okay, for all the carbon compound, we have two parts of the name. Yeah, all right. So this is the front part and this is the back part. Yeah, all right. So the front part here, okay, this is the front part. So the front part, we normally they use the word called prefix. Okay, they use the name called prefix. Okay, prefix. Okay, so when you see the word prefix, it means the front part. So this is the back part or the end partner. So the back part here, they love to call it as suffix. S-U-F-F-I-X, suffix. Do you need to memorize the name prefix or memorize the name suffix? No need, you don't need to memorize. Okay, you just need to know that all carbon compounds, the name has two parts. There are two parts of the name. Yeah, there are two parts in the name that you need to know. Okay, all right. So we will start from the back part first. Okay, so always start the naming from the back part. Always start the naming from the back part. Okay, so this is the tips. Okay, so always start the naming with the back part. Okay, always start with the back part. Okay, don't start with the front part. I mean, you can okay, but starting with the back part is better and it's easier. Okay, so if possible, always start from the back part. Okay, so you must know how to name the back part. Okay, how are we going to name the back part? Yeah, so the back part, okay, so the back part is actually decided by the homologous series. Okay, so the back part here is actually decided by homologous series. So when you want to name the back part, you always need to check what is the homologous series of the carbon compound. Okay, what is the homologous series of that particular carbon compound? Okay, all right. So let me go through a simple table here. Okay, so there are total 6 homologous series that we learned. Okay, as what I mentioned. Okay, so we have total 6 homologous series that you need to know. Okay, so let me write it down first. Okay, so this is the homologous series. Okay, so at first you might find it a bit blur, but you will be fine. Okay, you'll be fine. Okay, in a short while. Okay, so let me show you the concept first. Okay, so you have total 6 different homologous series. Okay, so by knowing the homologous series, then you will know what should be the back part of the name. Okay, what should be the back part of the name. Okay, so let me list out all the 6 homologous series. So we know that we have alkane, we know that we have alkene, and we know there is alcohol. Sorry, Before alcohol, we have alkyne, sorry, K-Y-N-E. So we have alcohol. We have carboxylic acid. And then we have ester. Okay, we have ester. Alright, so there are total 6 homologous series. Okay, so by knowing the homologous series, then you will know what is the back part. So today if the carbon compound is alkane, the name of the carbon compound must ends with ane. So if today you have alkane, the name must finish up with ane. Yeah, the name must finish up with ane. For example, you will learn this later. Let's say pentane. So when you see the name ends with ane, then you know the substance is alkane. So if the substance is alkene, the back part must finish off with ene. Yeah, the back part must finish off with ene. Let's say you see the name called pentene. So when you see pentene, the name ends with ene. So it is alkene. Yeah. So alkyne, the name will ends with Y-N-E. Ine. Y-N-E. Alright. So let's say you will see something like this. Okay, P-E-T-Y-N-E. Pentyne. So when you see Y-N-E, so you know that this substance is alkyne. So this is actually very easy to remember. Why? You look back to the homologous series, you look at the last 3 letters, A-N-E, E-N-E, Y-N-E. Yeah, just copy the last 3 letters lah. Okay. So for alcohol, the name must ends with O. Okay, alcohol, the name will end up with O. For example, you might see the word ethanol. Okay, you will see this later on, ethanol. So ethanol, when you see the name ends with O, so when the name ended with O, this is alcohol. Yeah, this is alcohol. Okay, let's say when you see another one, propanol. Okay, propanol, the name ends with O. So when the name ends with O, it is alcohol. Okay, it is alcohol. All right. So next one, carboxylic acid. Okay, carboxylic acid, the name, okay, the name is a bit special. Carboxylic acid, the name will ends with anoic acid. A-N-O-I-C. Anoic acid. Okay, anoic acid. Okay. So for example, there is one carboxylic acid you learn in your Form 4 Chapter 6. Form 4 Chapter 6, you learn about one weak acid. So the weak acid that you learn in Form 4 Chapter 6 is called ethanoic acid. Okay, so ethanoic acid, okay, also known as vinegar. Yeah, ethanoic acid is the vinegar, the sugar that we have. Yeah, the sugar. So you see, the name ends with anoic acid. So when you see the name ends with anoic acid, you know already this is a carboxylic acid. Okay, this is a carboxylic acid. Okay, so that's it. So for carboxylic acid, the name must finish with anoic acid. Okay, all right. So that's it. Okay, so the next one you need to know is the ester. So ester, you don't need to worry by now. Ester don't follow this system. So ester has a special method to name. Okay, ester, we will use a special method, okay, for naming. Okay, we will use a very special method for naming, okay, which we are not going to cover by now lah. Okay, we will only learn how to name ester afterward. Yeah, we will learn how to name ester afterward. So not for this lesson. So in today's lesson, no need to worry on how to name ester. Okay, all right. So let's come back. So naming. Okay, so if you want to name carbon compound, the name, you have 2 parts. Always start with the back. Okay, always start the naming from the back part. So to name the back part, we need to know the homologous series. So if the substance is alkane, the name will finish with ane. If the substance is alkene, the name will finish with ene. If the substance is alkyne, the name will finish with ine. If the substance is an alcohol, the name will finish with O. If the substance is carboxylic acid, then the name will finish with anoic acid. Okay, ester, we don't follow this method. Ester, we will use another method, which we will learn afterwards. Okay, so now let's look at the front part. So after you name the back part, okay, after you name the back part, now you will go to name the front part, okay. After you name the back part, then you can continue to name the front part, yeah. Now you can continue to name the front part. So the front part is decided by what? Okay, so how to name the front part? The front part is decided by the number of carbon, yeah. The front part of the name, okay, the front part of the name is decided by the number of carbon, okay, decided by number of carbon, okay. So you need to check how many carbon atoms you have, okay, how many carbon atom we have, so to know the name of the front part, okay. So let me show you here. So this is the number of your carbon atom, okay. This is the number of the carbon atom. So in SPM, normally they will only ask you 1 carbon until 8, okay, 1 until 8 only, yeah. Normally they only ask you 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, only 8 carbon atom they will ask you, okay. Very unlikely they will ask you more than that, yeah. So we have 1 carbon, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 4 carbon, 5 carbon, 6 carbon, 7 carbon, and 8 carbon, yeah. All right, so then this is the front part, okay. So if we have 1 carbon, okay, if we have 1 carbon only, so how to memorize it? So 1 carbon, the name must start with meth, M-E-T-H, okay, the name must start with meth. If 2 carbon, the name must start with at. 3 carbon, the name must starting with prop, P-R-O-P. 4 carbon, the name must starting with build. 5 carbon, the name starting with P-E-N-T, pent, okay, P-E-N-T, yeah. 6 carbon, the name will start with hex. 7 carbon, the name will start with hep. And 8 carbon will start with oc, okay. So this is the front part that you need to know, all right. This is the front part that you need to know, okay. So now many students they will find out 5 to 8 carbon is easy to memorize, okay. 5 to 8 carbon is very easy to memorize, okay, because it looks like the polygon that you learn in mathematics, okay. It looks like the polygon you learn in mathematics, okay. So if you have 5 sides, it's called pentagon, so you see the word pen. If the polygon have 6 sides, it's hexagon, so you see the word hex. So no problem, huh? So 5 to 8 is quite straightforward, pen, hex, hep, and oc. But many students find it very hard to memorize the first 4. The first 4, many students find it a little bit hard, a little bit hard to memorize, okay. Because by right 3 normally they will think of triangle, should be tri, T-R-I, tri, okay. But they don't call it a tri, but they call it as, okay, they call it as a prop, yeah, they call it as a prop. So many students will find it a little bit hard to memorize, okay, a little bit hard to memorize, okay. So how to memorize it? So this is the tips that we can use to memorize, okay. We can use the tips here to memorize in an easier way, okay. So we just need to take all the first letter out. The first letter here, we take it out and we try to create one acronym. We create one sentence, huh? So you see, we take all the first letter out, okay, the first letter. So we have M, we have E, we have P, we have B, P, has H, and O, okay. We take all the first letter out. Okay, so for all the first letter, we will try to create one sentence. So the first one, the M. So the M, we will create a sentence. M, we will call it as mama. Okay. The E, we will try to make it become eat. Mama eat. The P is papaya. Okay. Mama eat papaya. The B is but. Papa. Okay. Mama eat papaya, but Papa has hidden orange. Okay, Mama eat papaya, but Papa has hidden orange. Okay, So this is one of the way that can help you to memorize it. So let's say next time whenever you have 3 carbon, what is it? 3 carbon, mama eat papaya. Papaya, P. P can be prop, P can be pen. P can be prop, P can be pen. We know pen is 5 carbon, so definitely 3 carbon will be prop. Okay, so this is how we memorize it. Okay, so a simple way for you to memorize is you can take a piece of paper, you copy this table. Yeah, you copy this table for few times. Okay, copy this table for few times. Okay, then you will know how to memorize it. Okay, now, so now how are we going to use? This entire concept? Yeah, how to use the entire concept here? So I'll give you two very simple, 3 example. Okay, let me give you 3 examples so that you can aware of how to use the system to name, how to use the concept to name. Okay, let's say, all right, so I will show you 3 diagram. We will try to name these 3 diagram together. Okay, so this is the first diagram, so let us try to name it. Okay, so if you want to name this compound, always remember the name, you have 2 parts. You have 2 parts of the name. Yeah, always start from the back. Always start from the back. So to know the back part of the name, so as what we learned just now, the back part of the name is decided by the homologous series. Okay, the back part of the name is decided by homologous series. So what is the homologous series for this compound? So to know the homologous series, we need to check the sex organ, yeah, the functional group. Yeah, to know which homologous series is this, we need to check the sex organ, the functional group. So what is the sex organ? All the carbon are single bond. When all carbon are single bond, you know that this is alkane. When all the carbon are single bond, then we know this is alkane. So when I know this is alkane, I will let the name to finish with ane. Yeah, I'll let the name to finish with ane. That's it. Okay, next one. Okay, after I name the back part, now I need to name the front part. So for the front part, I need to check how many carbon is there. Yeah, for the front part, we need to check how many carbon is there. Yeah, how many carbon that we have. Yeah, how many carbon that we have. Okay, so if you go to check the carbon, okay, if you go to check the carbon, you have 3 carbon. So 3 carbon is what? 3 carbon, mama eat papaya. So 3 carbon, mama eat papaya. Papaya is P. Yeah, so for 3 carbon, the P is prop. Okay, so P-R-O-P. Okay, P-R-O-P. So this substance, the name is called propane. Yeah, that's it. So this substance, the name is called propane. Okay, just follow the system that I mentioned. That will be good enough. Okay, all right, let's try another one more. What if we have this substance? Okay, what if we have this substance? So how are we going to name this substance? So for this substance, same thing, always start the name from the back. Always start the name from the back. So to start the name from the back, we must know what is the homologous series. What is the homologous series? Which group it belongs to? Yeah, which group it belongs to? So as we can see, there is a carbon-carbon double bond. When you see carbon-carbon double bond as the sex organ, okay, when you see the carbon-carbon double bond sex organ, then you know that this is an alkene. Yeah? When you see carbon-carbon double bond, this is alkene. So alkene, the name will end with -ene. For alkene, the name will end with -ene. Yeah. So how many carbon that you have? So you have 2 carbon, right? So 2 carbon, mama eat. It is E. So for E, we have ETH, et. So this substance is called ethene. Yeah, this substance, the name is called ethene. Yeah, so it's not very hard. As long as you follow the concept, that will be good enough. Okay, let's try one more last example. Okay, what if we have this substance? Okay, what if we have this substance? And we will try to name it together. Okay. Okay, so if we are given this diagram, this structural formula, And how are we going to name it? How to name it? So same thing, always start the name from the back part. Always start the name from the back part. So to know the back part, we need to check the homologous series. So we need to check what is the homologous series, which group that you belongs to, yeah, which group that you belongs to. So as you can see, the functional group COOH, when you see COOH, okay, when you see COOH, you know this is a carboxylic acid. So I repeat, whenever we see COOH, it is a carboxylic acid. So I know this is a carboxylic acid. So carboxylic acid, the name must finish with arnoic acid, yeah. For carboxylic acid, the name must ends with arnoic acid, yeah. That's what we learned, right? For carboxylic acid, the name must finish with must ends up with arnoic acid. Okay. So after we name the back part, now let's name the front part. So the front part, we need to check the carbon. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 carbon. So 4 carbon is what? So 4 carbon, mama eat papaya but. So 4 carbon is but. Okay, so we put the word BUT. Okay, so this whole substance, the name is called butanoic acid. Yeah, the name is called butanoic acid. Yeah, so this is how we use the naming system. Yeah, so you see, so if you want to name the substance, this is the basic concept. So split the name into 2 parts. So we have front part and we have back part. Always start from the back. Always start from the back. So the back part, we need to check the homologous series. Okay, and these are the homologous series, and this is the back part that you need to know. Yeah, this is the homologous series, and this is the back part that you need to know. So after we name the back part, then only we name the front part. So front part is decided by number of carbon. Yeah, so front part is decided by number of carbon. So we need to know 1 carbon until 8 carbon. Yeah, so how to memorize? Mama eat papaya but papa has hidden orange. Okay, mama eat papaya but papa has hidden orange. Okay, so by using this concept, you should be able to name your carbon compound. Yeah, this is a very important concept for you to name your carbon compound. Yeah. Okay, alright, so guys, we have learned the basic naming for the carbon compound. Yeah, so now we will go on to a more detailed one. Okay, so now I'll teach you the advanced, okay, the advanced naming of alkane. Yeah, so now we will learn the advanced, okay, naming of alkane. So everything you learned just now is a basic. Okay? It's just a basic, but in SPM the question will be harder than that. Yeah, in SPM the question will be a bit harder. Okay, so you see, that's why just now we are learning what? Just now we are learning the basic principle, the basic only. But now we will go for the advanced, okay, the advanced naming of alkane. Yeah, so I will do a lot of example to teach you. Okay, I'll show you a lot of example how to name the alkanes in the advanced way. Okay, so same thing, this is the guideline or the strategy. So let me write out the strategy first. So I'll write the strategy and I'll show you step by step how are you going to do it. Okay, so this is the guideline number 1. Okay, so if you want to name alkane, so now we focus on alkane only. Yeah, no more alkene, no more alcohol. Yeah, so now we only focus on alkane. So if you want to name the alkane, you must know the name must ends with alkane. Yeah, if today we want to name alkane, so the name must end with ane. Yeah, so if we have alkane, the name will end with ane. Okay, so after that, okay, so now you need to find the longest. Okay, so after the name ends with ane, so now I want you to find the longest and also continuous. Okay, you need to find the longest and also the continuous carbon backbone. Okay, you must go to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone, and then you need to name it. Yeah, so I will tell you what do we mean by carbon backbone in a short while. Okay, we will learn what is the carbon backbone. Okay, you need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Okay, and you need to name it. Yeah, all right. So after that, you need to find the branch. Okay, you need to find the branch. So sometimes we have branch, sometimes we don't have it. Yeah, sometimes there is a branch, sometimes we don't have it. So I put the word if any lah. Okay, if there is a branch, you need to find it. Okay, sometimes you don't have the branch. Okay, so same thing, I'll tell you what do we mean by branch in a short while. Okay, yeah, so then only in the end, okay, in the end, after you identify the branch, so now you need to give the position number. So the last step, you need to give the position number. So position number, another word I like to call it is address. Okay, you must tell people address, where is the branch. Okay, tell people the address, the position of the branch. Okay, so you need to mention where is the branch. Okay, alright, so I'll show you how to do it, no worry, step by step. But before that, so before we start with the advanced naming, you need to understand two important keywords first. Okay, before we even start with the advanced naming, you need to understand what is carbon backbone and what is branch. Okay, you need to first understand what is carbon backbone and what is branch first. Okay, so let me give you some concept here first. Let me show you some concept here first. Okay, so we must understand what is mean by the carbon backbone. Okay, what do we mean by the carbon backbone and what do we mean by the branch? Okay, so I'll show you using a few examples so that you can understand what is the carbon backbone. So carbon backbone is the longest and also the continuous. The longest and also the continuous carbon chain. Yeah, the longest and continuous carbon that you have, it's called carbon backbone. Okay, so I'll give you a few examples here. Okay, I'll give you a few examples. Okay, how to find the carbon backbone. Okay, and there is no shortcut, you must try and error. Yeah, you need to try and error, then only you can figure out the carbon backbone. Okay, I'll show you, I'll use about maybe 3 to 4 diagram so that you can see what do we mean by the carbon backbone here. Okay, what do we mean by the carbon backbone? All right. Okay, so I will start with probably 3 diagram. Okay, I'll start with 3 diagram to show you what is the carbon backbone and to show you what is the branch. Okay, I'll use 3 diagram to show you what is the carbon backbone and what is the branch. Okay, so that you know these two concepts first. Okay, because without understanding what do we mean by carbon backbone and also the branch, you cannot do. Yeah, you cannot do the whole thing. All right, so let me show you how to do it. So first of all, I need to show you what is the carbon backbone. So I'll use the red color here. Okay, I'll use the red color to start. So if you want to find the carbon backbone, you must do trial and error. Yeah, you need to try. Okay, how to do trial and error? You need to go from one end to the other end. Okay, you must try to go from one end to the other end. Okay, from one side to the other side. Okay, So for example, let's say for the first question, okay, for the first question here, as you can see, so where is one end and where is another end? So this is one end and this is one end. Okay, this is one terminal, this is one terminal, end to end. So you will try to go from one end to the other end. So you can go from the left to the right, or you can go from right to the left, also can. You try to go as long as you can. So you can see the carbon, if I go, the carbon I can go in a 4. Okay, I can let the carbon go in 4. So the 4 carbon now link together. So this 4 carbon is my carbon backbone. Yeah, the 4 carbon now, this is my carbon backbone. Yeah. So what about another diagram? Yeah, let's look at another diagram. Okay, so now we can try on the next picture. Okay, so now can we try to find the backbone here, the longest backbone? Okay, so we need to find end to end. So where is the terminal? So one of the terminal is here. This is one end, and another end it's here, not here, because this one you still can continue to go on. So this is not the last carbon. Yeah, this is not the last carbon, because you still can continue to here. Yeah, so the first carbon it's here, and then the last carbon is here. So we will try to go from one end to the other end. Yeah, so the longest carbon should be 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, you can continue to go like this. Okay, you can go in 5. Okay, so many students say, sir, this is L shape. It's okay. Yeah, it's not a must to be straight line only. Okay, when you draw it, you must draw in a straight line when you draw it. But if the question give you the diagram, and you are looking for the longest carbon, as long as the carbon keep continue, it's okay that the shape is not a horizontal line. It's okay, like you see here, 5 carbon like this, continuous. It's okay one. Yeah, all right. So 1 2 3 4 5 continuous. Okay, so this 5 carbon is the backbone. Okay, all right. So what about the last one here? Okay, so the last one here, how to find the backbone? So you need to find the terminal. So this is one terminal. This is one terminal, because from here no more already, and this is one terminal. Okay, so you have 3 terminal carbon. So we will try to go from one side to the other side, and we need to find the longest one. It must be longest. Okay, so if you try to go from left, so if I go from left hand side, 1 2 3 4, if I go here, if I go straight line, so it will be 5 carbon. Yeah, if I go straight line, is 5 carbon. So if I don't want to go straight line, I can go here, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, if I go here, 1 2 3 4 5 6, so this is 6 carbon, this is longer. Yeah, okay, if I go the other way around, what if I go from here? Okay, if I go from here, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, if I go from here, 5 carbon. Okay, if I go from here, 1 2 here, 3 4. Okay, if I go here, this is also continuous, this is 4 only. Yeah, so what if I start from here? I start from here, 1 2 3. If I go here, 4. Okay, if I go here, 4. I also can go here, I also can try this one. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so you have to try every possible pathway, try every possible jalan. Try all the jalan that you have. Okay, so that's why I say it's trial and error. Yeah, it's trial and error. Okay, you try to go here, 5 carbon. You try to go here, 6 carbon. You try to go here, 4 carbon. Yeah, so it's all about trial and error. Yeah, it's trial and error. So you will go for the longest one. Try to go for the longest and continuous one. So in this case, the longest and continuous, it's here. Yeah, so in this diagram, the longest and continuous is here, 6 carbon. Yeah, so this 6 carbon is your backbone. Yeah, this 6 carbon it's the longest backbone. So I hope now everyone know what do we means by backbone already. Yeah, what is backbone? Okay, so after we understand what is backbone, so the next thing that you need to know is what do we means by branch. Okay, what do we means by branch? Okay, branch is actually anything which is not in the backbone. Okay, branch is referred to, okay, anything that is actually excluded. Excluded means not inside. Okay, everything excluded from the backbone. Okay, anything not inside the backbone, it's called branch. Okay, anything not inside the backbone, it's branch. Okay, and here you must know one thing: hydrogen is not a branch. Okay, everything not in the backbone is branch except hydrogen. Okay, I repeat, everything, okay, everything not inside the backbone, they are branch except hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen is not a branch. Okay, so let me show you example. Yeah, let's say for the first diagram here, who is not in the backbone? All these people. So all these people, they are not inside the backbone. So if you are not inside the backbone, you should be branch. But hydrogen is not a branch. Okay, hydrogen is not a branch. So for the first diagram here, okay, so for the first diagram here, we don't have any branch. Okay, so this diagram, the first picture here, no branch at all. Yeah, we don't have any branch. What about the second diagram? For second diagram, who is not in the backbone? All these. Okay, all these are not in the backbone. Hydrogen is not a branch, so we don't bother the hydrogen. But as you can see, there is a bromine. So bromine is not in the backbone, so bromine is a branch. Okay, anything outside the backbone is considered as branch except hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen is not counted as branch. Hydrogen is not counted as branch. Okay, what about the last one? So the last diagram here, okay, this is the last diagram. So who is not inside the backbone? All these. Okay, all these are not in the backbone. Okay, but we know hydrogen is not counted as branch, right? So all the hydrogen are not counted as branch. So who can be called as branch here? This carbon. Yeah, this carbon is not inside the backbone, so this carbon is a branch. Okay, so you can see your branch can be a carbon, your branch can be a bromine. Okay, your branch can be anything as long as it's not inside the backbone. Okay, anything not inside the backbone, they are branch. Okay, anything not inside the backbone, they are branch except hydrogen. So let me write a tips here. Okay, so anything that is not inside the backbone, anything not inside carbon backbone, okay, is actually branch. Okay, anything not inside the carbon backbone is branch except hydrogen. Hydrogen is not counted as branch. Hydrogen is not a branch. Okay, so this is what you need to know. Okay, so hopefully by now you already know what is backbone and you already know what is the branch. Okay, I hope now everyone know what do we mean by backbone and what do we mean by branch. Okay, so now in order to do the advanced naming, to do the advanced naming, I'll use about 8 to 10 examples. Okay, I'll use 8 to 10 examples, okay, to show you the advanced naming of alkane. So I'll make it become a 3 level. Okay, so there are total 3 level of the examples that I will show you. Okay, so I'll start with level 1. Okay, level 1. So level 1, the example, it's those without branch. Okay, no branch. Okay, level 1. So we don't have any branch at all. Okay, let me show you the level 1 example which don't have any branch. Huh? Okay, so let me show you a few. Okay, I'll use 2 examples for demonstration. Huh? So let me show you 2 examples. Okay, in level 1. Okay, so this is the first diagram, and which we will name it together. Yeah, we will name it together. Yeah, so how to name this substance? So follow the strategy. So step number 1. Okay, so if you want to name alkane, the name must end with "ane," which is true. In this case, as you can see, all the carbon are single bond. When all the carbon are single bond, this substance is an alkane. Yeah? When all the carbon are single bond, this substance is alkane. So the name must end with "ane." Yeah, the name need to end with "ane." Alright. So after that, look at step number 2. Step number 2, we need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. We need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone, and we need to name it. So let's find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. So the longest and continuous carbon backbone got 4, right? So we have 4 longest carbon. Yeah, our longest carbon is 4. So 4 carbon, mama eat papaya but. So 4 carbon is but butane. Yeah, this is butane. Alright. So step number 3, find the branch, if any. So do we see any branch in this example? Let's look at it. So what is branch? Anything outside the backbone. So now all the one outside the backbone is hydrogen. And I say just now, hydrogen is not a branch. Hydrogen is not counted as branch. Okay, so all the hydrogen is not counted as branch. So in this case, we don't have branch at all. So when we don't have branch at all, you can stop at here. The name you can stop at here. It's called butane. Yeah, this is called butane. All right. So let's try another one more example. Okay, let's try another one more example. Okay. All right. So what if we have something like this? Okay, what if we have something like this? Okay, so how are we going to name this substance? So same thing, to name the substance, always remember the name must consist of 2 parts. Always start from the back. Always start the naming from the back. Remember this, guys. Always start the naming from the back. So to start the name from the back, we need to check the homologous series. We need to check the homologous series. Okay. So as you can see, all the carbon are single bond. In this case, all the carbon single bond. When all the carbon single bond, this substance is alkane. So the name will end with "ane." After that, we need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Okay, let's find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. So the longest carbon backbone is here. It's 5. Okay, it's 5 carbon. Many students, they will stop at here. Okay, many students, they thought, for this question, they thought the longest one is here, 3 carbon. Nope, don't stop here, because when you go here, 1, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, at here you can continue, 4, 5, you can continue. Yeah, this 5 carbon can continue one. Okay, so the longest carbon in this case got 5. Okay, so there are total 5 carbon here. Okay, so 5 carbon, 5 is pen. 5 is pen, P-E-N-T, pen. Okay, so this substance, the name is called pentane. Yeah, pentane. Make sure when you write the name must stick together. These 2 names must stick together. You cannot write pen here and then the "ane" here, and here in between got a space. Cannot. Yeah, don't put a space in the middle. Just let the name stick together. Yeah, let the name stick together. Don't keep a space. Yeah, so this is called pentane. And do you see any branch for this question? So outside the backbone only got hydrogen. Outside the backbone only has hydrogen, and hydrogen is not a branch. Okay, hydrogen is not a branch. So for this question, we don't have any branch. So when we don't have any branch, your name, you can stop here. Okay, you can stop here. So the name is called pentane. Yeah, this is called pentane. Okay, that's it. So level 1 is very simple and very straightforward. Yeah, for level 1, it's very simple and very straightforward. Yeah, so let's increase the difficulty. So let us go for level 2. Okay, let us try to name level 2. So level 2 is the case when you have one branch. Okay, what if there is one branch inside the carbon compound? Yeah, in the carbon compound, what if we have one branch? Okay, if we have one branch, what should we do? Okay, so here you have two cases. One is non-carbon branch and one is carbon branch. Okay, so I'll start with a non-carbon branch first. Okay, what if the branch is a non-carbon one? Okay, what if you have a non-carbon branch? So for your level, the non-carbon branch, normally they will put halogen. Yeah, they will put halogen. Yeah, all right. So this might be your branch, and this is the name of the branch. Okay, the name of the branch. Okay, so your branch, normally they will put two. One is a chlorine or one is a bromine. Okay, if you have a chlorine branch, if today you have a branch and the branch is a chlorine, you will call it as chloro. Okay, today if you have a branch, the branch is chlorine, then you will call it as chloro. Today if you have a bromine as a branch, you will call it as bromo. B-R-O-M-O, bromo. Yeah, so very unlikely they will give you iodine as a branch. Okay, very unlikely. But if they give you iodine as a branch, you call it as iodo. So actually quite simple. Only Cl we learned before is chlorine. You just need to change the IDE here with O, chloro. Br we learned before is called bromine. You change the INE to O, bromo. I is called iodine. You change the INE, become O, iodo. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so if the branch is chlorine, you call it as chloro. If your branch is bromine, you call it as bromo. If the branch is iodine, then you will call it as iodo. Yeah, so I'll show you how it works. Okay, I'll show you how it works. All right, so let me show you using two example. Yeah, I'll use about maybe two example to show you, okay, how it works. Okay, all right, so let me show you this. Okay, so this is the diagram. Okay, I'll use one example to demonstrate. Okay, so this is the diagram. Yeah, all right, so how are we going to name this diagram? Okay, how to name this structural formula? So same thing. All right, so when we want to do the naming, always follow the guideline. Always follow the guideline here. Okay, so first of all, like what I mentioned, when you want to do a naming, always remember, start the naming from the back. Always start the naming from the back. So when you want to name the back, you need to check the homologous series. You need to check the homologous series. So in this case, all the carbon are single bond. When all carbon are single bond, so this substance is alkane. Yeah, when all the carbon they are single bond, this substance is alkane. So when this substance is alkane, the name will end with ane. Yeah, when you have alkane, the name must end with ane. So what is the next step? So the next step now, you have to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Okay, find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Okay, so if you find the longest and continuous carbon backbone, where is it? So here, this is the longest carbon backbone you have. Okay, the carbon, they go continuously. So the longest carbon here, you have 6 carbon. Yeah, so when you have 6 carbon is hex. 6 carbon, it's hex. So put HEX, hexane. Yeah, and you don't stop here. Yeah, you don't stop here. So after you name the hexane, so what is the next thing? Look at your step number 3. Find a branch, okay, and name the branch. Okay, do we have a branch? So branch is anything not inside the backbone. Branch is anything which is not inside the backbone. So hydrogen, they are not the branch. Okay, hydrogen is not counted as branch. Okay, hydrogen is not counted as branch, but chlorine is a branch. Okay, this chlorine is a branch. Okay, so when we have a chlorine branch, okay, so when we have a branch, we need to name it. And we learned it moment ago. When the branch is chlorine, okay, when the branch is chlorine, then we will call it as chloro. Yeah, when the branch is chlorine, then we will call it as chloro. Okay, we will call it as chloro. So where to put the chloro? Put in front here. Okay, put chloro. So the chloro, make sure you stick with the hexane. You don't put like this. You don't put chloro and hexane and has a space here. So I don't want any space in between. No space in between. They must stick together. Yeah. So chloro. Okay. So when you have a chlorine as a branch, you call it as chloro. Okay. So now you already named the branch. Okay? You already named the branch. The last thing you should do is give the position number of the branch. So what do we mean by give position number to the branch? So you must tell people where is the branch. Okay? So you need to tell people where is the branch. So how to give the position number, or I call address, to the branch. Okay, so you need to do 2 things here. Okay, if you want to give the position number to the branch, you must do 2 things here. Okay, you must try to count from both ends. Okay, you must try to count from both ends. Okay, so what do we mean by count from both ends? So both ends means that you have to try to count from left to right. Then you have to try to count from right to left. Okay, you need to try to count from left to right and right to left. Okay, you must try both way. Okay, let me show you how to count. So if I count from left to right hand side, okay, if I count from left to right hand side, what it is? So if I count from left to right hand side, this is carbon number 1. Okay, this is carbon number 2. This is carbon number 3. This is carbon number 4. This is carbon number 5. This is carbon number 6. Okay, if I count from the left to the right hand side, this is left to the right. Yeah, if I count from the left to the right hand side, you can see the chlorine is sticking to the carbon number 4. Yeah, the chlorine is sticking to carbon number 4. Okay, so the address is 4. Okay, the address here, it's 4. Okay, so you can put a 4 here. Okay, you put 4 and you put a dash. Okay, just like your house number lah. Okay, just like a house number here. Okay, the house number you can put B01, something like that. Okay, so you need to put a dash. Okay, so this 4 is the house number. Okay, so this 4 means what? This 4 means that the chlorine is sticking on carbon number 4. Yeah, the chlorine is sticking on carbon number 4. Okay, and we're not done yet. Okay, just now I count from left to right. Okay, just now I count from left to right. So now I want to count again from the right to the left. Okay, so now you see I erase all the number. Now I will count again. Okay, from the right to the left. So if I count from the right to the left, okay, if I count from the right to the left, this is carbon number 1. This is carbon number 2. This is carbon number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. Okay, so if I count from the right to the left, the chlorine now is sticking to carbon number 3. Yeah, the chlorine now is sticking to carbon number 3. So when chlorine is sticking to carbon number 3, so the name will be this. Okay, so you can copy the name. The name will be the same. Yeah. So when you change the direction, the name doesn't change. Okay, the name doesn't change. Okay, only change in the number. So if you count from the right hand side to the left hand side just now, so the chlorine is on carbon number 3. So the house number is 3. Okay, you get it? So I hope everyone can see why there are 2 names here. Okay, why you can see there are total 2 names here. Okay, one name, this is the name if I count from the left to the right. This is the name I get when I count from the right to the left. Okay, so we have 2 possible name here. Yeah, we have 2 possible name over here. Yeah, so since we have 2 possible name over here, so the next thing is that we must know which one is the final answer that we should give. Okay, which one is the final answer that we should submit in your exam. All right, so let's go back to here. Okay, so look at the strategy. So to give the so when we give the position number, you must try to count from both ends. Okay, try to count from left to the right, right to the left, and then you always need to choose the smallest number. Okay, choose the smallest number. Okay, you will try to count from left to the right, right to the left, and you will choose the smaller number in between them. So now if you look at the name just now, this is 3 and this is 4. So the smaller number is 3. So this is your final answer. Okay, your final answer is this one. Okay, so the first answer is wrong. Okay, so I hope you can see the concept. Okay, no worry if you find it a little bit blur, it's normal. It's normal. Let me show you another one more example. Okay, let me show you another one more example. Yeah. All right. What if we have something like this? Okay, what if we have something like this? Okay, let me show you another one more example. Yeah, for this. All right. Okay, let's try to name this carbon compound together. Okay, so when you want to name carbon compound, always start the name from the back. Okay, always start the name from the back. To name the back, you must always check the homologous series. So all the carbon, they are single bond. Okay, all the carbon, they are single bond. So they are alkane. All the carbon single bond. So this is alkane. So alkane, the name must end with ane. So the alkane, the name must end with ane. After that, you must go to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. So where is the longest and continuous carbon backbone? Many students will take here 4, which is wrong. Because here the 4, here still can continue. Okay, and here still can continue. Okay, so you can go in this way. You see, the whole thing is continue. Okay, so here the whole thing is actually continue. Okay, okay, so it's continue like this. Okay, so that's why you must try every possible jalan. Try every possible jalan that you have. Okay, so the longest here is 6. So 6 carbon is hex. Okay, 6 carbon is hex. So hexane. So after you name the hexane, now you have to check, is that any branch? Is that any branch here? Okay, so branch is something not in the backbone. Okay, branch is something not in the backbone. So as you can see here, okay, as you can see, all right, I use triangle to represent branch normally. Yeah, but it's okay, you can use any shape also. Let's say this is the bromine. This bromine is not in the backbone. Okay, this bromine is not in the backbone. So this bromine is our branch. Okay, this bromine is the branch. So when we have a bromine branch, okay, when we have a bromine branch, so bromine branch, you call it as bromo. Yeah, if you have a bromine branch, you call it as bromo. So put the word bromo, B-R-O-M-O, at the front. Sticking, no space. Sticking and no space. Okay, so now we already tell people there is a branch called bromine. There is a branch, we call it as bromine. Yeah, all right. So now after we tell people there is a branch, the last thing, you must be able to give the address, the position number to the branch. You must give the position number to the branch. So to give position number, you need to try to count from left to the right and the right to the left. You need to count from both ends. So let's count from left to the right. So if you count from the left to the right, this is carbon number 1. This is carbon number 2, number 3, okay, number 4, number 5, number 6. So as you can see, the bromine is sticking to carbon number 6. The bromine is sticking to carbon number 6. So the name, okay, the name here, it should be 6-bromohexane. 6-bromohexane. Okay, and don't jump into conclusion yet. Many people, when they get this answer, they are very happy and they start to celebrate already. They are very happy, they start to celebrate. Don't do that. We are not done yet. We are not done yet. Okay, so this is the name I get if I count from the left to the right. You must count again in opposite direction. Okay, you must count again in opposite direction. Now you will count from the right to the left. Okay, now you will count the address from the right to the left. Okay, so when you change the direction, okay, when you change the direction, the name doesn't change. Okay, name is always the same. When you change the direction, only the number will change. I repeat, when you change the direction, only number will change. The name will be still the same. So you can copy back the name. Yeah, you can just copy back the name bromo, copy back the name hex, and ane. So in exam, of course, you don't need to use so many different color lah. In exam, you don't need to show so many different color. I just make it colorful to show you what is happening only. Yeah, I just make it colorful to show you what is happening. In exam, of course, you don't need to use all different color. You just use one color will do. Yeah. So now if I count from the right to the left, so if I count from the right, this carbon is carbon number 1. This is carbon number 1. So the bromine is sticking to carbon number 1. So when bromine is sticking to carbon number 1, so the name is 1-bromohexane. Okay, 1-bromohexane. Okay, so we have two answers here. Which one is the proper one? Which one is the proper one? Remember, we always choose the smaller number. Always choose the smaller number, yeah, as the final answer. So this is the final answer, yeah. Okay, so now let's move on. Okay, we are still in level 2. Okay, we are still in level 2. So what if now the branch is carbon branch? Okay, just now I show you what happened when the branch is a non-carbon. Okay, just now I show you what happened when a branch is a non-carbon. Okay, what happened if the branch it is a carbon? What if we have a carbon branch? Okay, all right, so I'll show you what to do with carbon branch. Okay, so same thing, I will show you two examples here. Okay, I'll show you two examples here. What happened if the branch is a carbon branch? Okay, so just now we are doing non-carbon branch, but now we are doing carbon branch. Okay, so what if we have a carbon branch? So if we have a carbon branch, okay, so you will still use back the prefix. You will still use back the prefix, the mama eat papaya thing. Okay, mama eat papaya, but papa has hidden orange. Use back the mama eat papaya prefix, okay, to name the branch. Okay, all right, and then you need to add a very important letter. You need to add YL. You need to add the letter YL at the end of the branch. Okay, at the end of the branch you have to add the word YL. Okay, what do we mean? Okay, so same thing, let us use example for demonstration. Okay, I'll use two example to show you. Okay, I'll use two example to show you how it works. Okay, let me use two example to show you how it works. Okay, so let's say, what if we have something like this? Okay, let me use some example for demonstration. Okay, okay, let's try to name this substance. Okay, So when you want to name carbon compound, always start the name from the back. Okay, remember, always start the name from the back. The back part of the name is decided by homologous series. Okay, so all the carbon, they are single bond. All the carbon are single bond. So this is alkane. This is alkane. So we will let the name to ends with ane. Yeah, we will let the name ends with ane. So after that, we need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Yeah? So we need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. So how to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone? Trial and error. So if you go in straight line, you have 5 carbon. If you go here, you have 5 carbon. If you go here, you have 3 carbon. So the longest one is 5 carbon. Yeah, the longest backbone got 5 carbon. So many will ask, sir, longest is 5 carbon. Here is 5 carbon. Here also 5 carbon. Which one I should choose? Okay, which one I should choose? I will say anyone. Okay, I will say anyone. So something like this. Just imagine, now you are walking to a junction. If today this junction is 10 kilometer and this is 3 kilometer, you must choose the longer one. You must choose the longest one. Okay, the 10 kilometer. But now when you go to a junction like this, okay, when you come to a junction, this junction is 10 kilometer, this junction is 7 kilometer, this junction is 10 kilometer. So you need to go for the longest one. So you won't take the 7 kilometer. Okay, you will not take the 7 kilometer. So then you can go for this one or this one. Also can. Because this one and this one, both of them also longest. So when you have more than one longest carbon, you can go any one of them. Okay, you can go any one of them. Just like this. The longest carbon is 5. Okay, I can go here, the 5 carbon. I also can go here, the 5 carbon. No problem. Yeah? Up to you. Okay, let's say I go here. So this one I have 5 carbon. So 5 carbon, 5 is pen. So 5 carbon is pentane. Yeah? 5 carbon is pentane. So next thing, we have to double check, is that any branch? Okay, we need to double check, is that any branch? Okay, so after we need the backbone, now we need to find the branch. So do we have branch? Yes. Anything not inside the backbone is branch. So this carbon is not inside the backbone. So this carbon is a branch. Okay, this carbon, it is a branch. And this branch is a carbon branch. Okay, this is a carbon branch. Just now we learned non-carbon branch. Okay, now we are having carbon branch. So when we have carbon branch, what should we do? Okay, you should count the number of carbon in a branch. You need to count the number of carbon in the branch. Okay, so this branch has 1 carbon. We have 1 carbon in the branch. So when we have 1 carbon, what should we do? So to name the carbon branch, we follow back the mama eat papaya. So 1 carbon. If you check back, okay, so 1 carbon. So 1 carbon is called meth. M-E-T-H. Okay, M-E-T-H. So when your branch has 1 carbon, okay, when the branch you have 1 carbon, you call it M-E-T-H. But one thing you have to be very careful. For the carbon branch, we need to add YL. We need to add YL to the name. Yeah, we need to add YL into the name. So this METH, you need to add the word YL. Okay, you need to add the word YL. So it's called methyl. This is called methyl. Some school produce as methyl. It's okay. It doesn't matter you pronounce it as methyl or methyl. It's okay. Yeah. Alright, so this is methyl pentane. Okay, that's it. So remember, carbon branch need to add YL. For the non-carbon branch, no need. Like chloro. Chloro, you don't need to add YL. No need. Bromo. Bromo, no need to add YL. No need. Okay, for the non-carbon branch, you don't need to add YL. For carbon branch, you need to add YL at the name. Yeah. So now the next thing, do the same. Now you do the same thing. Now you need to count the location. Where is the address? Okay, where is the branch? Now you need to count the branch. So if you count from the left hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4 is on number 4. Okay, so now if you count from the right hand side, okay, right hand side, so this is 1 and 2 is on number 2. Okay, if you count from the left, is on number 4. If you count from the right, is on number 2. Okay, so always choose the smaller number. So the smaller number is 2. So the smaller number here is 2. So this substance, the name is called 2-methyl pentane. Okay, it's called 2-methyl pentane. So if you realize, the concept is very, very similar to what we learned just now. Okay, the concept is very similar to the non-carbon branch. The only difference now is that the name need to add YL. Okay, the name need to add YL. That's the main differences. Okay, so let's try another one more example. Okay, let's try another one more example over here. Okay, what if we have this compound? Okay, so this is another compound that we have. Okay, this is another compound that we have. Okay, so let us try to name it. Okay, let us try to name it. Name this compound together. Okay, okay, so for this question, as usual, always start the name from the back. Always start the name from back. All the carbon, they are single bond, so it's alkane. So the name must ends with ane. So after that, we need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. We need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. So for this question, the longest carbon will be 5. So you can go here, this is 5 carbon, or you can go here, this is 5 carbon, or you can go here also can. It's 5 carbon, yeah? So the longest and continuous carbon has 5. So 5 carbon is pen. 5 carbon is called pen. So we have a name called pentane. Okay, so let's say I use this one as the longest and continuous carbon. Okay, so after we name the longest backbone, now we need to find the branch. So anything not inside the backbone is branch. Okay, so these 2 carbon, they are not inside the backbone. So these 2 carbon, they are branch. Okay, so these 2 carbon, they are branch, and this branch is made of carbon. So when we have carbon branch, how to name it? How to name carbon branch? So for carbon branch, we follow back the mama eat papaya. So when we have 1 and 2 carbon, 2 carbon is at ETH. Okay, 2 carbon is at ETH. And do remember, when you have a carbon branch, you must add YL. Okay, when you have carbon branch, you must add YL. So it become ethyl. Okay, it become ethyl. Okay, so carbon branch need to add YL. So remember, no space, no space in the name. So the name should sticking to here. So the name should sticking to the whole thing. Yeah. So now after we name the branch, we need to tell the address. Where is the branch? So how to get the location for the branch? You must count from left to the right and the right to the left. So if you count from the left to the right, this is carbon 1, 2, 3 is on the 3rd carbon. Okay, is on the 3rd carbon. So if you count from the right to the left, here to here, okay, right to the left, so this is 1, 2, and 3. So it's also on the 3rd carbon. So count from the left, the branch is on 3rd carbon. Count from the right, also on 3rd carbon. So do we have a smaller number to choose? Do we have a smaller number to choose? No, we don't have. We don't have a smaller number to choose. So we will go with the 3rd, 3. Yeah. Let's say if you count from the left hand side, is 2. If you count from the right hand side, is 4. Then you must choose a smaller number, 2. But in this case, when you count from the left and when you count from the right, the number is the same, it's on the 3rd. So we will go for 3 ethyl pentane. Okay, so this is how we name it. So it's not very hard. Most importantly, you do it step by step. Okay, step by step. So this is level 2. So in level 2, so we put in 1 branch. Okay, we put in 1 branch for the naming. So if the branch is chlorine, just call it as chloro. If the branch is bromine, just call it as bromo. If the branch is iodine, just call it iodo. But in SPM, very unlikely they will ask you iodine. Very, very rare. Very unlikely. Okay? If your branch is carbon, if your branch got one carbon, so it's mama, meth. Add the word YL, methyl. If your branch got two carbon, so it's et. Okay, add YL, ethyl. If your branch got three carbon inside, three carbon is prop. Okay, three carbon is prop. So when there is a carbon branch, add YL, propyl. So remember, carbon branch, you must add YL. You need to add YL in the name. Yeah, that's it. Okay, this is what you need to know. Okay, so now we will learn the last thing. Okay, we will learn the last thing here for today's lesson. Okay, which is level 3. Okay, so level 3. So for level 3, this is the case when you have two branches. Okay, this is the case when you have two branches. In SPM, most of the time, the maximum branches they will ask you it's two only. Yeah, in SPM, most of the time they will only ask you two branches. Okay, very, very unlikely. Okay, very unlikely in SPM they will ask you until 3 branches or more. Okay, very unlikely. But even if they ask you 3 branches, the concept is the same. Okay, which I'll show you later. If you understand 2 branches, you will not have any problem, even if they ask you 3 branches. So for 2 branches, what you should do? Okay, for 2 branches, you will follow back all the concept in level 2. So all the concept in level 2, okay, you will follow back. Okay, you will still use back all the same concept there. All right. Then after that, okay, the only difference is this. So there are 2 main differences. Okay, so when you have 2 branches, okay, when you have 2 branches, you need to use a keyword. Okay, you need to use a keyword here. 2 branches, the keyword is di, die. Okay, di. You need to add the word die. 2 branches. After that, okay, when you have 1 branch, you need to give 1 address. So when you have 2 branches, you must give 2 address. Okay, when you have 2 branches, okay, so you need to give 2 address. Okay, 2 address. Okay, so 2 branches. So you need to give 2 position numbers. Okay, you need to show 2 position numbers, 2 address. Okay, so this is very simple. 1 branch, just give 1 number. So 2 branches, you need to give 2 number. Okay, so I'll use example. Okay, I'll show you some example as well. So hopefully the example that I show you will give you a better idea. Okay, it will give you a better idea how it works. Okay, so let's try a few examples. So the first example is this. Okay, so let's try this example together. Okay, all right. So let us try to name this substance. Okay, let's try to name the substance. So as usual, when you want to name the substance, always start the name from the back. Remember, always start the name from the back. Yeah. So to start the name from the back, we need to check the homologous series. So all the carbon, they are single bond. So when carbon, they are single bond, these are alkane. This is alkane. So when we have alkane, the name must end with ane. Yeah, the name need to end with ane. Okay. So after that, we need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. We need to find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. So if you try to go for it, the longest carbon is here. Okay, the longest and continuous carbon, it's here. So there are total 6 carbon. Yeah, we have total 6 carbon in the longest backbone. So 6 carbon is called hex hexane. So the longest carbon have 6, so we call it hexane. So the next thing we need to check, is there any branch? Is there any branch? I'll say yes. This chlorine is not inside the backbone, is a branch. This chlorine also not inside the backbone, is branch. So in this case, we have 2 branches, okay? So in this case, we have 2 branches, okay? So when we have 2 branches, we need to add the magic word. 2 branches, the magic word is di, die, okay? Di, die. So we add the word die at the front here. Di, die, yeah? Okay? Die. So what is our branch? Our branch is made of chlorine. So when we have chlorine branch is called chloro. Okay, if we have a chlorine branch, we call it as chloro. Do you need to add YL? No need. You only add YL if the branch is carbon. Okay, if you have a carbon branch, then only you add YL. Okay, for chlorine, no need to add YL. Yeah, so just call dichloro. So make sense, dichloro. Di means you have 2. Chloro means you have chlorine. So you have 2 chlorine. Okay, so you have 2 chlorine here. That's why you call it as dichloro. Yeah. So now, after you name this, the last thing you need to do is you have to give the address. Okay, now you have to give the address. You must tell people where is the branch. Okay, so when you have 2 branches, you must give 2 position number. Yeah, you need to give 2 address. So let's count from the left. If you count from the left, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you count from the left, okay, 1 branch is on the 4th carbon and 1 branch is on 5th carbon. Yeah, if you count from the left, 1 branch is on the 4, 1 branch is on the 5. So how you going to give the number? So you put a 4 and you put a 5, you comma. So which means what? 1 branch is on carbon number 4, 1 branch is on carbon number 5. And between the number and alphabet, you need to put the dash. Okay, 4, 5 dichlorohexane. So don't memorize, you just need to understand the concept. Yeah, so you see, 2 branches, you need to give 2 numbers. Okay, so then now you're not done yet. Try to count again from opposite direction. So you try to count again from opposite direction. So if you go in opposite direction from here to here, this is carbon number 1, this is carbon number 2, this is carbon number 3. So if you go in opposite direction, one of the chlorine is on carbon number 2, one of the chlorine is on carbon number 3. So it's 2 and 3. So you can go for 2 and 3. So between the number, you comma it, okay? And then the back part here is the same, yeah? Because when you change the direction, the name is the same. The name is the same, only the number will be different. I repeat, when you change direction, the name is the same. Only direction will be, the name will be the same, only the number will be different. Only the number will be different, yeah? So you copy back the name, yeah? Copy back the name, yeah? So this is dichloro, this is hex, and this is A. Okay, all right, that's it. So now we get 2 names here, okay, because of 2 different directions. This is the name I get when I count from left to right. This is the name I get when I count from right to left. So remember, we need to choose the smaller number. Okay, we need to choose a smaller number. So how to compare the smaller number? Look at the first digit first. Look at the first digit. 2 and 4. So who has a small number? 2 is smaller. Just compare the first digit will do. Just compare the first digit will do. If the first digit is the same, let's say 1 and 4, 1 and 5. If the first digit is the same, then only you compare the second digit. But normally you compare the first digit will do. Just compare the first digit and choose a smaller number that is good enough. Okay, all right. So in this case, the first digit here, the smaller number is this. So the final answer, the final answer is this. Okay, 2, 3 dichlorohexane. 2, 3 dichlorohexane. Okay, so this is how are we going to name it. Yeah, this is how we name it step by step. Okay, so we will go for another one more example. Yeah, let's go for another one more example like this. Okay. Alright. So now as you can see from this picture, so this picture will looks like a bit complicated because there's so many things here. Okay, there's so many things here. That's why in exam sometime to save some space, they will do this. Sometime in exam, like this carbon, you have 3 hydrogen. So sometime they will just write it up. They will just write, okay, they will just use the word CH3 like this, okay. Then continue this carbon here, okay. Then this carbon on top, you have 3 hydrogen, so you have a CH3. CH3 means what? 1 carbon and 3 hydrogen. So in exam, when you see CH3, make sure you know it's actually 1 carbon and 3 hydrogen. It's just a way for them to simplify. Yeah, sometimes they simplified it. So in exam, if you're given this CH3, CH2, CH3, make sure you know actually what it is. Okay, so the first one, CH3, so we can open up. So the first carbon, 3H, so H1, H2, H3, 3 hydrogen. Then go on. So the second carbon here, you have 2 hydrogen, 1 and 2. Go on. The third carbon is here, you have 3 hydrogen, 1, 2 and 3. So sometime in exam, to make you confused, they will purposely give you this one, the simplified one. Sometime in exam, they will give you the simplified one to confuse you. Okay, so make sure you know how to convert the simplified one into a full picture like this. Okay, so now same thing, let us try to name this substance. So to name the substance, we always start from the back. Yeah, we always start the naming from the back. So to name the back, yeah, if you want to name the back, so we always start from, okay, if you want to start from the back, okay, so we always start from the back part. So the back part, you have to check the functional group. Okay, we have to check the functional group here. Okay, so to check the functional group, so all the carbon, they are single bond. Okay, all the carbon are single bond, so you know it belongs to alkane. So the name will ends with ane. Okay, so after that, you need to find the longest and continuous backbone. So you have to try an arrow, the longest and continuous backbone. Like here, 1, 2, 3. This is too short. 1, 2, 3. This is too short. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is okay. Yeah, you can try here also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 also can. No problem. You can go here also can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 also can. Yeah, try every possible path that you have. Try all the possible jalan that you have and go for the longest one. So in this case, if you try, you have a few possibility. Yeah, you have a few possibility. You can have 3, you can have 6. So the longest one is 6. So for the 6 carbon, you can go for here, or you can go for here, because this one also 6 carbon, or you can go for here, also 6 carbon, no problem. Yeah, so just choose the longest carbon will do. So the longest carbon, let's say I choose this one. Okay, so 6 carbon is hex. Okay, 6 carbon is hex. Okay, so now we have hexane already. Okay, so now after we get the hexane, so now we need to find the branch. Okay, we need to find the branch. Okay, so now we need to find the branch. So branch is anything not in the backbone. Branch is anything not inside the backbone. So as you can see, this carbon is not in the backbone. This carbon also not in the backbone. So we have 2 branches here. So in this case, we have 2 branches. So when we have 2 branches, we have to add the keyword. The keyword is called di, di, di. Okay. So now, how to name the branch. Okay, this is where a lot of students make a mistakes. This is where a lot of students add a mistakes. Okay, this is where a student make a lot of mistakes. So many students will see, oh, the branch here, this one has 1 carbon, this one has 1 carbon. So we have total 2 carbon. So 2 carbon, mama eat, they put ETH, at. And carbon branch, they add YL, diethyl. This is what a lot of students do. This is wrong. Cannot. Why? Okay, so because as you can see, these 2 branch, they are not stick together. You can see, this carbon is here on the top. This carbon is here at the bottom. So they are not sticking together. Okay, they are not sticking together. You see, here is 1 branch and here is 1 branch. And these 2 carbon, they are separated. Okay, these 2 branches, they are separated. So when the branch is separated, you cannot total up the carbon. You cannot say, oh, here we have 1 carbon, here we have 1 carbon, so total 2 carbon. Cannot. You only can total up if the 2 carbon, they stick together, like the previous example. You see here. Okay, now for this question, okay, for this question, you can see in this branch itself, these 2 carbon is stick together one. Okay, these 2 carbon stick together in a branch. So in this case, since the 2 carbons stick together, you can total up 1 plus 1, 2 carbon. So 2 carbon is ethyl, no problem. But when you come to this question, the one we have, the 2 branches, they are separated. So when they are separated, please don't total up. Don't total up. So you have to count it separately. Okay, you have to count the carbon separately. Okay, so how you count the carbon separately? So here you have 1 carbon. So 1 carbon, so if this branch is 1 carbon, 1 carbon is mama, meth. Okay, carbon branch at YL, methyl. So this is 1 carbon also. So 1 carbon is meth. Okay, so carbon branch at YL, methyl. So you can see that this branch is methyl, this branch is methyl. So you have 2 methyl branch here. This is 1 of the methyl, this is 1 of the methyl. So you have 2 methyl branch here. That's why the name you called it as dimethyl. Okay, you called it as dimethyl. So what do we mean by dimethyl? Dimethyl, di means you have 2, methyl means you have 1 carbon branch. Okay, you have 2 1 carbon branch each. You can see this is 1 carbon branch, this is methyl, this is 1 carbon branch, this is methyl. So when you have 2 branches, you call it as dimethyl. Okay, so you have to be very careful. Don't add it. Okay, don't put diethyl. If you put diethyl, then it is wrong. Okay, if you go for diethyl, then the answer is wrong. Okay, so actually many students, they put diethyl, which is wrong. So in what case you can call it as diethyl? You only can call it diethyl if this is the case. If let's say this is the backbone, and on the backbone here, this branch has 2 carbon and this branch has 2 carbon, then okay. You see, here we have 1 branch, here we have 1 branch. This branch got 2 carbon sticking together, so it's ethyl. This branch has 2 carbons sticking together, ethyl. So when we have 2 ethyl group, when we have 2 branches, which is ethyl, then only you call diethyl. So please be careful. Diethyl and dimethyl, it's very, very different. Okay, diethyl is the case when you have 2 branches, and this branch got 2 carbon, and this branch got 2 carbon. Dimethyl is the case when this is the backbone, you have 2 branches, this branch has 1 carbon and this branch has 1 carbon. That's it. So when the branch is separated, you cannot total up. You cannot take this carbon plus this carbon, 1 plus 1, 2 carbon, and you use the word ethyl, which is wrong. Okay, so please be careful. You must know when you should use the word diethyl and when you should use the word dimethyl. Okay, please be very, very careful. Many students make mistakes on this question. Many students, they make mistakes on this question. Okay, so this is dimethyl. Yeah, all right. So after that, when you have two branches, you need to give two position number. You must give two address. You must give two address. So if you count from the left hand side, 1 and 2. Okay, so both of the branch is on the carbon number 2. Okay, this branch is on carbon number 2. This branch also on carbon number 2. So what you should do, okay, you should write the 2, 2. You need to write the number for 2 times. Why? The first branch is on carbon number 2. The second branch also carbon number 2. So 2, 2, and you put dash. And you can count again from opposite side. If you count from opposite direction, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. If you go from the right to the left, then now the number is 5. Okay, if you go from right to the left, now both of the branches is on carbon number 5. So what is the name? So the name will be 5, 5. Then you copy back the name. Dimethyl hexane. Yeah, all right. So if you count from the left, is 2, 2. If you count from the right, is 5, 5. So we need to choose the smaller number. Yeah, we need to choose the smaller number as the final answer. So when you want to choose a smaller number, you compare the first digit. Compare the first number will do. So 2 is smaller than 5. So this is the final answer. Okay. So for this compound, the name is 2,2-dimethyl hexane. Yeah. For this compound, the proper name is 2,2-dimethyl hexane. Okay, so hopefully you can see how it works. Hopefully you can see, all right, for this question, how it works. Okay, so please be careful. This and this, they are two separate branch. You cannot take this carbon and this carbon add together, become ethyl. Cannot. All right, so make sure you know ethyl and dimethyl, they are very different. Okay, ethyl and dimethyl, they are very different. Okay, so please be very careful on this. Okay, all right. So this is how you do the naming. So hopefully by now you can see the concept. Okay, hopefully by now you can see the concept. Okay, how are we going to work on the question? Work on the question as in, how are we going to get the name step by step? Okay, how are we going to give the name step by step? Okay, all right. So let's do a very quick recap on what we learned in today's lesson. Okay, so in today's lesson, we are learning a few concepts. Okay, let's spend about 1 or 2 minutes to do a quick recap. So today we start with alkane. So you need to know alkane, the functional group is carbon-carbon single bond. So anyone got carbon-carbon single bond, they are alkane. So general formula is used to predict the formula of alkane. So if you want to know the formula of alkane, you can use the general formula to predict. You can substitute the n with the number that you want. Yeah, starting from 1 until infinity. But normally SPM, you need to know until 8 only lah. Yeah. All right, so make sure you know alkane. We also call it as saturated hydrocarbon. Alkane, we also call it as saturated hydrocarbon. Okay, so you need to know 3 important skills. Okay, so today we cover 2 skills here. The first one is drawing and naming. Yeah, we cover 2 skills in today's lesson, drawing and naming. So make sure you know how to draw alkane. So draw the alkane starting with all the carbon. Okay, draw all the carbon first, and then connect all the carbon with single bond. Okay, because single bond is the sex organ for alkane. After that, every carbon must always have 4 bonds. Always make sure carbon must have 4 bonds. Cannot be more, cannot be less, must be 4 only. And fill in the blanks with hydrogen. Okay, this is how we draw alkane. So when you want to name the alkane, you can split into 2 parts. the front and the back. Okay, alkane, the name must ends with ane. Alkane, the name must ends with ane. So we need to go and find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Okay, find the longest and continuous carbon backbone. Okay, and you name it using the mama eat papaya. Yeah, mama eat papaya, the one. Okay, 7 carbon, hep. So if you have 4 carbon, build, something like that. Yeah, then you need to find the branch. So what is branch? Branch is anything not inside the backbone. Anything not inside the backbone is branch, except hydrogen. Hydrogen is not counted as branch. Hydrogen is not counted as branch. So in the end, if you have a branch, you need to give the position number to the branch. You need to tell people where is the branch. You count from the left to the right, you get a number. You count from right to the left, you get a number. You choose the smaller number. Yeah, you choose the smaller number. That is the address of the branch. Okay, so remember, if you have 1 branch, you need to give 1 number. If you have 2 branches, then you need to give 2 number. Yeah, if you have 2 branches, you need to give 2 numbers. Okay, so this is a very important concept that you must follow. Yeah, all right. So with that being said, okay, this is everything that you need to learn for today's lesson.